Senator Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as I listened to the debate at this hearing today, I am reminded of a provision that I wrote that was included in the Dodd-Frank Act that was known as the Collins Amendment. I had a long-standing battle with federal regulators on the implementation of that amendment. And finally, the Banking Committee actually held a hearing on what was the intent of the Collins Amendment. And needless to say, I was the lead-off witness. And I started off by pointing out that I was Collins, I am Collins, I'm still around, and I know what my intent is. And I would say to you, Mr. Secretary, hearing the debate today, that Senator Alexander and Senator Murray, who are the authors of this rewrite of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, are still here. They know what their intent is. They were careful in drafting the bill, and that's why there is this frustration that many of us are feeling. I want to talk about the reporting requirements that are included in your proposed regulations. Now, I think all of us can agree that transparency is essential, but reporting requirements should not be so onerous that small school systems in rural states have difficulty in complying unless they are specifically authorized by the Every Student Succeeds Act. We want to make sure the reporting requirements give parents and communities the information about their state accountability systems, but the proposed regulations establish many more reporting requirements than required by the law. They include, among other things, how states calculate and report data on the report cards, additional data for charter school students, and procedures for calculating, reporting district and school expenditures. Two questions. Can you point to specific authority in ESSA that you believe allows the department to propose these additional reporting requirements, which appear to me to be contrary to the intent of the law? And second, how does the department square these additional reporting requirements with the mandate in the law that report cards be concise, understandable, and accessible?
Yeah. We believe the reporting requirements in the draft regulations are consistent with the statute. We certainly are open to feedback on the reporting requirements as we are to the entire regulation. Look forward to feedback from stakeholders. There are places in the statute where in order to fulfill the requirement of the statute, additional data will be necessary for states. But again, we're open to feedback on the proposed regulations, and if there are places where folks think that there's already, for example, an existing data report that addresses something, we're open to consolidating those. So this is a place where we look forward to stakeholder feedback.
Well, to me, it's obvious in the law what is required, so I hope you'll take a look. I want to second the comments made by the chairman about the summative rating from 3 rating categories for each school. The Act requires that states evaluate their schools on academic and non-academic factors, but it does not require that each school be given a single rating. So here we go. We seem to be going in the proposed regulations away from the new innovative educational approaches in favor of maintaining the status quo and the inflexible requirements of No Child Left Behind that were discouraging to teachers, to parents, to administrators, and students alike. How does a summative rating, which essentially reduces the school to a single number or letter grade, support the goal of state flexibility, which was a fundamental premise of the rewrite of this law.
So just to be clear, the summative rating language in the regulation does not require the use of a letter grade or a numerical index. State could use those, but a state could also use a categorical system consistent with the statute. The statute requires that states identify schools for comprehensive support, states identify schools for targeted support, and then there'll be schools that are in neither of those categories. So the statute envisions a categorical system at a minimum. That's consistent with our summative rating approach. Also, to identify the bottom 5% of schools that will get that comprehensive support, states will need to have a methodology to identify those schools that will require relative comparison of school performance, exactly what's intended by the summative rating language. So we think the summative rating is exactly consistent with the statute.
I would beg to differ, but my time has expired.
Thank you, Senator Collins.